Welcome to yet another episode of The Shift, powered by ETH Insights. The Shift showcases business leaders who delve into the intricacies of their fields, uncovering challenges, opportunities, and strategies for moving forward. Stay tuned to The Shift to gain valuable insights from industry experts and stay ahead of the curve. Global capability centers have become a cornerstone of India's economic growth, evolving from cost-saving back offices to innovative hubs driving global strategy. Alcon Global Services plays a key role in this transformation, delivering critical shared services for Alcon, the world's leading eye care device company. Today we have with us Vineet Dwivedi, VP and Global Head of AGS, to discuss the future of GCCs, the intersection of healthcare and technology, and what's next for India's role in global eye care. Hello Vineet, welcome to ETH Insights.
Hello Anika.
Vineet, you have been in the industry for about 25 years. What are your views on the way GCCs have evolved in India, and what is your take on where it's going to go from here in the next decade, next 10 years?
Thank you, Anika. In fact, 25 years, absolutely. I've been in the industry, and I call myself very fortunate that I have seen the whole journey of the GCC evolution. In fact, when we were starting it in many years ago, around 20 years ago, it was not even called GCC. The name evolution has also happened. I think some of our friends used to call it a call center, to BPO, to GBS, and now we have GICs and GCCs now.
Right.
So you can see the whole mindset has also evolved. So if I look back in last 10 years, India, the GCC setup, if I can say, was always considered into a cost arbitrage. How can we get more savings out of the cost or the labor arbitrage? But now in last 5 years or 7 years, I would say, a lot has changed. The number of GCCs which the global corporations were having in India has gone almost double. Around 10 years ago, we were around 600, 700 kind of GCCs in India. Now we are already having 1,700. Can you imagine how much growth has happened?
And it's supposed to go to 2,600.
Exactly. So the way it is going in next 10 years, it is going to be almost like the pace is going to be very high. In fact, the studies and the market reports talks about in next 5 years, by 2030, the number would be around 2,600 GCCs. And who knows, this number is going to even change. What it brings, so when we were having the pool from the market, we were talking a very less number of people working in GCCs. Now, if I talk about now 2025, we have close to 2 million people already, the talented professional working in GCCs. This number in next 5 years to 6 years time frame is gonna be around 4.5 million, just doubling up. The interesting point is it's not only the role change or the headcount coming in, the whole capability is changing. It is not seen as a cost arbitrage. Of course, you get cost saving. It's definitely a part of that. But that's not the prime reason why everybody is coming to India. The Indian talent, the innovation our teams are bringing in is the main differentiator now. You look at the way whole data science, we are talking about data engineering. India is being in the center of the gravity now. So I'm really happy to be an Indian and sitting in India talking about it, that we see GCCs in India are actually becoming the GCC capital of the world now.
Absolutely.
The way many years ago we had, whenever you talk about Silicon Valley, it was always like, okay, it's only IT hub. So I think we have moved away. There are a lot of engineering, R&D stuff happening in our GCC centers in India. I would say it's a golden time for GCCs, for India, and also the talent working there. There is so much of potential coming in.
In fact, taking from what you have said, I think last year there was a report that came from Goldman Sachs calling India the services factory of the world. And going by the numbers also that we know of the industry is going to function, how do you think that the move from earlier it was viewed as low cost, high talent pool, that is why the GCCs were being built here, but now they are strategic partners to the parent company also. How do you think that shift will also reflect in the kind of talent you attract as a representing the GCC sector?
Certainly, you are very right with your facts that the whole shift is happening. One is, are we ready with the talent? Yes, there is a very good talent available in India. I see a lot of universities catching up. So a lot of new courses being inducted. So the whole adoption of what is required in the GCC setup or in the ecosystem is coming up. Whether you talk about data science, engineering, deep tech, AI, ML, a lot of universities have already started teaching them in the colleges. Plus, there are a lot of executive coaching programs, executive studies are coming in. So that's one part of making the talent pool ready. Other part which I see how the whole evolution coming in, the whole nudge happening is quite crucial because it's quite interesting the way the whole evolution is happening. It's very organic, but on the other side, all the GCCs are going into the core of the company. If I'm a product company, am I working on R&D? Am I working on my quality, regulatory, lot of stuff? Rather than just doing the peripheral processes, moving away from enabling functions to the core of the company. That's where, to your point, GCCs are becoming a strategic partners. The way I see one interesting trend in the industry, and I keep meeting a lot of my industry colleagues and friends and listening to them, that earlier was a struggle to get a seat on the table. If I talk about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, you're always like, okay, yes, you provide us some service. But now it's not only on the seat on the table. Many of our GCC leaders have seat on the table. They have a voice on the table.
Right.
And moreover, in fact, there are many GCCs companies like ours who have got one notch above. We have got influence on the table. How do you play that strategic partner role? You are not the last one in the league to get to know. You are in the room with the right people when the strategy is being made and say, okay, this is how we can add value for our customer, for our stakeholders, for our investor. I think that's how I see a big shift happening. If you ask me, are we done? Answer is not yet. But are we in the right track? Absolutely. We are in a perfect track. I'm very confident that we are going to move ahead quite well in this momentum.
Vineet, I think it's very interesting how you said that it's not just getting a seat at the table, also having a voice and influence. So from there, moving from the broader industry conversation to specific to what the sector you are in, now with the increasing digitization, the exposure to electronic devices, it is impacting eye health, and also in ways that we didn't have, those certain conditions a few years ago. In such a scenario, how do you foresee this impacting the eye care health industry and the role of Alcon in it?
Yes, Anika. There is a positive and there is always a cons also comes in. So pros is that yes, the whole world is moving very fast on the digitalization. If you look at, especially after pandemic, the exposure, even the small kids have to go for online schools. Even just think about it. I think for small kids, when you have a 5-year or a 6-year kid, those eyes are not built to be having so much time on the screen, electronic via media exposure. But that happened. I mean, that's the reality of the fact which is happening right now. So for sure, this has some cons. So on one side, if we look at the overall how the digitization is helping us, which is required, I think everything is on your fingertips, smartphones, and whatnot, new things are coming in. But what is happening, this exposure which is happening, our total screen time has increased way too much especially for the younger ones, or even for us for that matter.
Right.
In fact, this is a World Health Organization report which talks about that in next 15 to 20 years, 50% of the world population will have eye issues. Imagine, by 2050, if we take that number, I think we are talking about close to 4 to 5 billion people having eye issues. Are we ready with that ecosystem? And I think that's where the eye care industry has a lot of responsibility to make sure that we are also being ready, that we are able to take care of the diseases, the issues which are coming, and also there are a lot of unmet needs, which are new things are coming in. In fact, if I talk about cataract, generally in eye care, cataract is a very common disease which happens with the age-related disease, which used to happen maybe generally above 60, 75, generally 70 plus was a time period if you look back like 10 years ago. But now, when we speak to the doctors, we learn from them, they're getting patients of 45 to 50-year age, which is not a very healthy sign. So I think it's both ways. As eye care industry, Alcon plays also a big role in that. But as eye care industry, there is a lot of responsibility that we continue to help people so that they're taking care of your eyes, because it's one of the important senses which we have.
The most complex one.
Most complex was for sure. So if you can't see the world, you cannot enjoy the beauty of the world. All the good things we are talking about will go away. And we feel when we talk to the patient, we talk to the doctors, I think you feel that empathy, hey, how things can look ugly. You cannot live brilliantly if your eyesight is not up to the mark. So I see, yes, there is a balance which we need to strike in. So my advice will always be, at least if we can have some guardrails or some rules at homes for our kids to say, hey, you need to limit it. Also, do some exercises, whatever the doctors are telling them, because that will ensure that they stay away from these digital via media and can avoid some of these eye issues which can crop up in their early age.
Moving from specific eye care industry to the larger health sector, what are some of the key market trends that you see evolving in the health tech segment, and how can the health GCCs capitalize on those to increase their exposure and also their investment?
So Anika, the way I see it, a lot of things are happening. So look at India GCC, what kind of GCCs we are having. Of course, there are functional partners which we have, like typical ones, which is finance, IT, all those are there. But with R&D coming in, a lot of other functions coming in, what is happening in our GCC ecosystem of healthcare or life sciences, whether it is in pharma or you name it. So what is happening? We already have a big ecosystem being created in GCCs. So what is happening when the whole integration need to happen now? So when we are looking at a problem which we have to solve, so GCCs in India, they have pretty much most of the functions, core functions also sitting here. So there is an opportunity when we integrate all this to have a business outcome or what kind of patient unmet need we are focusing, that solution can come from India now. Not only the part of the picture which we are there. I think the whole GCCs can see the bigger picture. They are able to say, okay, this is how I can contribute. A lot of innovation happening from India. So a lot of product development, software development on the healthcare side, because all these equipments which doctors uses or the healthcare professional use, majority of them now being developed on their software side as well from India. In R&D, the design of those are happening here. And somewhere, if you see, there are a lot of clinical trials happening from India. We have quite a sizable population of the world, and to do clinical trials also, this is nice thing for many companies. They want to do clinical trials in India. So all the teams, the clinical trials are done here. Then you have the data management part, analytics part, and then the whole feedback loop which goes to the product development, that is also sitting here. So you can see the full value chain of the company is having a replica of GCC in India, and that's how I see this. This is a very crucial time from a healthcare perspective. And I think there are other industries which started quite early on the GCC side, but over last maybe 8 to 10 years, I can see a lot of momentum being picked up in many healthcare industry verticals which are becoming. And I think if you look at the numbers are quite, if you look at the comparison of automobile to some of the other segments, electronics and all, healthcare is catching up. The new GCCs being set up in India now.
Talking about India's role in the larger healthcare industry, obviously we're entering a new era now. And we're also shifting from our reputation as the pharmacy capital of the world. If you were to pick one moniker or one concept that would reflect on our role in the in the larger health sector going forward, what would that be?
Yeah, you're right. So India was called always pharmacy of the world. If I have to pick up, I would say it's like the solution provider for the world. And these are business problems and real life problems which are coming in. India in future can act as a solution provider for the whole world. The nature of problems can be very different, but we have the full ecosystem which is being built, the muscles being built, and I think that's something which I feel is very important. And in fact, as our Prime Minister says in 2047, we should be a developed nation. I think it goes quite well with that. How do you become that? If you provide a solution to many problems of the world through our GCC systems and a lot of other things which are happening in India right now, I see there is a very good potential there.
And we need, lastly, if there's one message that you have for our audience about eye health or something that you would want to say, what would that be?
Yes, so being in a health eye care industry, and especially this is one topic which is very close to me. There is a rule which World Health Organization talks about. This is called 20-20-20 rule, a very interesting rule, very simple. So I think I would request all the audience who is listening or watching this to follow that for their family members and in their organization as well. So 20-20-20, what does that mean? That whenever we are working on a system, every 20 minutes, you should look for 20 feet away for 20 seconds. So every 20 minutes, look for 20 feet away for 20 seconds. If we do this, this will reduce a lot of stress on our eyes. And maybe this can reduce even the probability of getting eye disease as well, especially for kids and some of us, we are hooked on to the screen for a long time. And I think there is enough already issues in the eye care industry which we have to take care as an industry, as everyone. And looking at the numbers, which how 2050 will be looking at, I think it's our responsibility not only to cure the diseases, eye care diseases, but also to prevent if we can. And I think that's my message to everyone. One more message is I want to talk about, especially from a GCC perspective. As I said, it's a very golden time for India. I think the talent in India is already recognized at a global level now. We have a lot of great leaders coming from India. And in fact, the industry reports talks about that by 2030, there will be around 30,000 global roles based out of India, global leaders based out of India. So how as we as an individual can also look forward to learn, upskill myself, reskill myself so that I can contribute to the growth of India, growth of the segment whichever I working in, and also as an industry, how do we develop more talent on the leadership side? I see this as a great potential. So that would be my request, that as an individual, let's try to see how can I bring my best foot forward to contribute to the nation and also to the global economy.
Thank you, Vineet. I think, like they say, building a vision for tomorrow, and that's exactly what you are doing. So thank you for sharing your insights and talking to us at EPA.
Thank you, Alika.